Moving away from that, still talking football, just about Nigeria Premier Football League side, Enyimba FC. Their travelling contingent were stranded at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos on Monday, 23rd October. Now, this is due to a delay in obtaining a landing authorization from the Moroccan authorities. The team was forced to return to the hotel after spending almost 6 hours and 30 minutes on the aircraft. The Enyimba management condemned the delay, which they perceived as a deliberate plot by the Moroccan authorities and Wydad Casablanca to frustrate the team. They also called on the Confederation of African Football to intervene on the matter. That done, the Confederation of African Football CAF announced a new date for the second leg of the Africa Football League quarter-final match between Wydad Athletic Club and Enyimba FC of Nigeria. The match, which was originally scheduled to take place on Wednesday, 25 October, will now be played on Thursday, 26 October at 7 p.m. local time. But the contentions around this situation remains rife. And joining us in this conversation will be sport journalist from Aba, Nigeria, Enyimba home, Tony Ademodi. Thank you so much, Tony, for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, good to join you on your sports show on TV. It's a delight, being on air this evening with you.
Great one. It's a pleasure here. But I must say, Tony, first, it is the jersey mishap from Enyimba, and now we are hearing about this. Enyimba are the biggest club in Nigeria, and they seem not to be able to put their house in order. A landing permit, according to my understanding and what I researched about it, takes an average of 72 hours to be issued. This is not a matter of Morocco not allowing them to travel. Who do we blame here? The Confederation of African Football or the African Football League organizers, or should we blame Enyimba, Tony?
Well, first and foremost, I must say that it's been a difficult one for Enyimba, at least in the last few hours. After that, game played at the Nest of Champions in Ogu-Obaroh State, where Enyimba couldn't get that win over their opponent, Wydad Casablanca. I think the turning point of that game was the fact that, Enyimba, had a show of shame. You did mention about the jersey incident that went viral on social media. We had a whole lot of people talk about that. And I must tell you that, it didn't go down well with fans of Enyimba International. And you did ask a question, who should take the blame? At this point, I think I'm not going to exonerate Enyimba, because I think Enyimba should take the blame for this. They had a whole lot of time to have sorted that out. Yes, there were confusion and complications as to who was responsible to registering these players. But this is the African Football League, where anybody didn't just wake up to know that they were going to play in the African Super League just a few weeks ago. They should have put their house in order. The said player we talk about here is Innocent Gabriel, the player they signed from Rangers International of Enugu. Interestingly, Innocent Gabriel has featured in 2 games already for Enyimba International this season in the league. And the young man, Innocent Gabriel, wears the number 5 jersey for Enyimba. But it was surprising that during the CAF competition, the African Super League, Innocent Gabriel was registered with the number 3 jersey. So it means somebody somewhere failed to do his job. And I think Enyimba Football Club should take full responsibility of having failed to do their job. Because they have a sporting director in ex-international Ifeanyi Ekweme. And of course, the chairman of the club, who is himself is an African legend. They're talking about Nwankwo Kanu, should have known this better. But they failed to do that. So I think Enyimba should take full responsibility of that show of shame that they did have, on Sunday right there at the Nest of Champions.
Okay, the Confederation of African Football came up with a statement, same with Enyimba, saying they had submitted the number 5 as the jersey for Innocent, but something went wrong somewhere, CAF secretary having to register the number 3. A lot will not want to, take the blame here, but looking at this situation, the Royal Moroccan Football Federation released a statement about this whole situation of the authorization for landing and all. It stated that the direction for the Du Transport Orient DTA received an initial request of the flight authorization from Enyimba on Monday, 23rd, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. Tony, Enyimba stands to earn at least 1 billion naira for participating in at least two-leg affair of this competition, and yet they do not want to do the basics. When will Nigerian Premier Football League clubs learn and perfect their logistics before they head up to the airport?
Well, I must tell you that, it's really not been an easy one for Enyimba International, especially now that they have a new chairman. You and I know that before now, Chief Felix Ayansiagu has been the man that has, been in charge of Enyimba International for the past 22 years or thereabouts. And, the transition from the Ayansi era to the Kanu Nwankwo era, I think it's just a learning process for this particular management of Enyimba International. For those of us who follow this team, for those of us who love the league, I can tell you that Enyimba International, they are really not getting it right now in terms of administration, because you did mention something there where you talked about the Moroccan authorities claiming that they received letters of Enyimba's arrival and all that late on Monday. But then I must also say that the Moroccan, authorities and North African football are filled with antics. We follow this game so much. If you look at what happens in North Africa, each time Nigerian clubs go there to play in any part of North Africa, they come up with a whole lot of antics. So
I'm sorry,
that may not be an excuse,
I'm sorry,
for Enyimba failing to do their job.
I'm sorry, Tony, to butt in. I have to hinge on that aspect where you said they play antics. Now, when you're going for a competition on Monday, do you submit your landing permits on that same Monday at 12:30 when you're to go on a flight at 5 p.m. Nigerian time?
Well, I'm not
exonerating Morocco that they're not playing antics, but let's look at the time difference, the duration of time when the permit was sent to the Moroccan airline.
I think that's totally wrong. If that story is actually true, then it means Enyimba actually failed to get it right in terms of their traveling plans, because Enyimba themselves knew that the reverse fixture of this game will be just 3 days after the first leg. So I think they should have done that earlier on. They should have submitted, their landing permit earlier enough. In fact, at some point after the first game in Rio on Sunday, there were reports in some quarters that maybe Enyimba would have probably maybe followed the Moroccan team back to Casablanca. But then the thing, like I said earlier on, this Enyimba management right now is, I think, it's a learning process. There's been a whole lot of issues for this, current management of Enyimba in terms of administration.
Okay.
But don't forget that the shoes left by Chief Felix Ayansiagu is going to take time for anybody to fill. This is a man that spent over 20 years in charge of Enyimba. And if you look at it, Kanu Nwankwo, who is the chairman of the club now, he doesn't stay in Nigeria. So, he stays abroad. He stays in the UK. So it's going to take time. Well, he actually left Ifeanyi Ekweme, who is the sporting director of the team, to take charge of Enyimba. And if you look at the Enyimba players, Enyimba is a blend of youth and experience right now. They have a bulk of younger players. A whole lot is happening in the team. So, like I said, it's going to take time. I think the first few months, Enyimba might just be struggling, and maybe before they get it right, because the truth is,
Tony,
there's so much pressure on this new management, to fill the boots of Chief Felix Ayansiagu, the former chairman of the club.
Thank you so much, Tony. Time not our friend, but I know you have to take baby steps first before you start running. Thank you so much, Tony Ademodi, sport journalist from Aba, Nigeria, keeping up abreast with the situation around Enyimba Football Club. Confederation of African Football have been able to reschedule that fixture for 26th of October 2023 for the second leg against Wydad Casablanca. We appreciate your thoughts on the show today.